Alright, here we go. Get ready. Alright, settings all good. Closing 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello everybody, my name's Alex and welcome to the first episode of the Unfold series. In today's video I am going to be teaching you guys how to create the NCS circle effect. This effect right here, I am going to be teaching you how NCS make their videos. Now I'm not going to be releasing their official or their settings or so. I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make, well, a similar effect with the same plugins. So yeah. But before starting the video, I'll put the requirements on screen right now. So all you need is Trapcode Form, Trapcode Shine, and Trapcode Starglow, which are all third-party plugins by Red Giant, I believe. And the only necessary plugin is actually Trapcode Form. But let's jump straight into the tutorial. So I'm in Adobe After Effects CC 2014, but it should work on any version as long as you have the plugins. So first off, I'm going to be creating a new composition. I'm going to call this tutorial take 6, I believe it is. Take 6, yeah, it's my 6th try here. So yeah, right click to create a new solid, which is the first thing we're going to be doing here. So we'll call this particles. And you won't see the white background, of course, if you're familiar with After Effects. Then you want to apply the effect on it. So what you are going to want to do is search here for Trapcode. Well, no, sorry, you're supposed to search for Form, and it's gonna show up under the Trapcode tab, and you just drag it over to the Particles tab. Now in here we're going to be changing a couple of values and settings to make it look like a circle. So first off, you want to go into the Base Form tab right here. You want to change these values. The size X, you want to have it on a value of 590, and the size Y, you want to have it on a value of 430, and on the size Z, you want to have it on 0. The particles in X, this is supposed to be on 400, and the same for particle in Y. I'll repeat this once. If you're in Adobe After Effects right now, the size X 590, the size Y 430, size Z 0, particles in X 400, particles in Y 400, and particles in Z 1, since you can't set it to 0. Now we're done in the Base Form tab. You can close it and you can now go into the Particles tab. In the Particles tab, all we're going to be changing in here is the color. You can pick a color you like. This is going to be the color of the actual spectrum, the sphere. So I'm going to be picking a yellow, since the yellow is the original house color for at NCS, basically. Now next tab you want to go to is the Audio React tab. Now you need to add a audio layer for this plugin to work, of course, since it's an Audio React plugin. So I'm going to drag in the official soundtrack for the Unfold series, and then I just drag it into my composition. And once I've done that, I can now go into the audio layer or Audio React, and then I'm going to select audio layer. I'm going to select my audio layer. So selecting my audio layer as the audio layer in Trapcode Form. Yeah. So now all you want to do is open Reactor 1 and 2. We're going to be changing the settings here. So Reactor 1, set it to map to fractal, and set the Reactor 2 to map to Sphere 1 size. Sphere 1 size. Now once you've done that, the next settings you are going to be changing are the width and the strength. The width of the fractal, set it to 20, and the width of the Reactor 2, the Sphere 1 size, set it to 65, and the strength of the Reactor 2 to a value of 20. Now we're not noticing any difference on the actual particles at the moment, but they will show up on the in the next step, and in the next step after the next step. So it's the next step inceptionism, whatever, right here. Anyway, let's move on. So in the fractal field, right, in the fractal field, you are going to be changing the displacement value to a value of 50. So 50 right there. Now we're getting some difference or some displacement on the base form. Now you want to change the flow in y to a value of minus or negative 167, and then you want to change the flow evolution to 95. So I'll repeat it for you guys who are in After Effects. Displacement set to 50, flow y negative 167, and flow evolution set to 95. That's all you have to do for the fractal field. You can now close the tab down and go into the spherical field tab. In the spherical field tab, we're only going to be using the sphere 1, and in here you want to change the strength to 100, and once you've done that, you then want to change the radius to about 420. Basically what this does is well, changes the radius of the strength of the spherical field. And basically, if you have different values on the base form, you basically want this just to be a little bit above the base form. So about, I'm gonna set it to 420, or near plus minus 100 of the base form of this value. So once you've done that, you can now close this tab, and we have our audio spectrum. That's about it. Really simple. Now please bear in mind there is a couple of things we can do to make this look better. Of course, I'm going to be adding my own effects. Well, a couple of effects that I like using, which will increase your production value quite a lot actually. One of them being activating or turning on motion blur. Now do bear in mind it is going to make it look more smooth, and you know, it's gonna make it look more smooth. That's basically the only term which is rather correct. Though bear in mind this effect is going to affect your rendering times quite heavily, but so for the tutorials, for the sake of the tutorial, I'm going to turn it off and turn it on when I'm showing you guys the final results. Another thing we can do, if you want to change the size and the placement of the sphere, do not move the composition like this. Then you're moving the entire composition, or the entire composition, no, you're removing the entire solid, which is not what you want. What you want to do instead, known or people or users familiar with After Effects will know that this is not how you do it. This is not how you do it, guys. The best way to do it is if you can change size and move things within the third-party plugin or the plugin itself, do it in the plugin. So in the World Transform, we can change the size. I'm going to set it to about 80, and then I'm also going to be changing the X offset to about a value of 150, and it should move 150. Maybe it was 550. No, it was 450. No, it was 350. No, it was 400. Something like that. Well, subjective, guys. Like, you guys can play around with these values how much you want, really. It's subjective. It's what you like is what you like. So what you like was what you like. What I mean with that is, basically, you might not like the settings I have. You might find your own settings. So, you know, once you've rendered out your video, hit me a message on Facebook or here on YouTube, and I'll have a look. Yeah. So now we've moved the audio spectrum. This is how to do the entire audio spectrum. Now you could let your creativity go on and just create a video here, but I am going to continue showing you guys how I make my videos for clients, and you know, this is how I learned it. And since I'm also going to be showing NCS style of the video, I'm going to be adding a still background. Of course, it's just a picture, just like NCS has it, and I'm going to be adding in the NCS logo. So I'm going to scale it down to about 80, and I'm going to move its X position They usually have it about here, I think. Something like this. This is about what the NCS videos look like. Now, what you can do to make this look a lot better, we're going to be changing the looks of the Spectrum first, then the NCS logo, and then I'll do my magic trick in the end. And so, what you want to do is look up the effect called Glow, and you want to drag it onto the particle layer, and it's going to start glowing a little bit here. I do believe the NCS template has glow. I cannot remember for sure, but this is the glow effect. Just don't touch it. The settings are actually quite fine. Now next up is the Shine. So Tropical Shine is a plugin effect which I use in almost every project. It's a really good project. It does a really high quality shine, and it can be used like in almost every shot, every effect, anything really. So you know, you want to try to center it in the middle of the sphere, and if you cannot see through the effect, or if it simply removes anything, change the transfer mode to normal or add. Add will make it about, it's gonna put itself on top of it. So let's say if the light value is 50 and the light value of the shine is 50, the light value is gonna be 100. If you have it on normal, it's not going to blend together in the same way. So in colorize, you then want to set it to one color and just choose the color which is quite the similar color, the same color as the Spectrum, and I'm gonna change the relief to about 1, actually a little bit less, something about that. And I'm gonna boost the light. What about 3 maybe? That looks about it. So I'm gonna close down the Shine tab, and I'm then going to add the Star Glow. The Star Glow, it kind of gives some edges to your spherical effect. As you can see, we got some edges here. It's sort of like optical flares, but they're not optical flares. But it gives your sphere a little bit of edgy effects, and I like it. You don't have to use it, but I use it. So first off, go into the color map A and color map B and set it to one color. You can then change this color. I usually have one color as the same color, and then the other color a more of a darker color of the default color, so you get a little bit of variation. You can see we have a little reddish color right here to just bring a little bit of variation to the scene. Now we have the Spectrum done. What I can do now, just to make it look better, is activating the motion blur. There we go, the motion blur is on. Let's find a nice still somewhere here. Well, this is gonna take ages. This looks good. So next up, we're going to be adding shadows onto the logo. Now this can be your own logo you're having right here. It could be just a picture, it could be anything. Now this has transparency, and things with transparency usually works very well with the layer style drop shadow. As you can see, we've added a little bit of shadow. You know, it raises the production value a little bit, and it adds depth to your scene. So if we can go here, we can go in here, raise this to about 80 and change the distance to the doubled, so 10, something like that. And we'll just, you know, we're having a little bit of depth to the scene. And now what you can do, basically this is an NCS video. We're done. This is how NCS makes their videos. A little bit of drop shadow. You know, they have their Spectrum and their background. Now to make this look good, in my opinion, you could add some motion to the background plate, meaning the still background here. To the photo, so increase the scale to 105. If you don't know how to increase the scale, you could just press here, go to transform, and go to scale. Quicker way, hit the layer, hit S on your keyboard, voila. Voila, there you have it, voila, voila, voila. Kind of funny word. Anyway, so increase it to 105, and then hit P on your keyboard to get the position keyframing, and then hold Alt and press the keyframe button, and you're then going to get up the expression window. In here you want to type in a wiggle 0.4, 50, and close it, and then you just press outside, and there we go. You've added some wiggling to your scene. Actually, I've been a bad boy here. Let me just check here. 1 second, guys. Yeah, sorry. Set the scale to 110 to be 100% sure that you don't get any black lines, black bars. So once you've done that, if I deactivate the particles, you will see how the background is moving. You know, it has a rather smooth, that was new, smooth motion, and it increases your production value quite a lot, and I think it looks really good with these templates. And you know, just moving a little bit like that, and yeah, and then you just turn that back on, and this is how you create your own NCS video by yourself. I really hope you guys learned something from this video. This is my first video tutorial for the Unfold series, so hope you guys enjoyed it and learned something. Any feedback on my commentary, on my video quality, anything is highly appreciated, since I want to give you guys the best content I can possibly give you, and so any feedback is heavily appreciated, guys. And also a little bit of a disclaimer. This video is not intended to show any secrets about how NCS makes their videos. This is for educational purposes only. I want to enlighten people on how to create visual effects. I want to inspire people to I want to inspire people to do visual effects, and this is, you know, a beginning of it on motion graphic design. So hope you guys enjoyed this video, and keep watching until after the outro so you get to the main menu. Well, if you didn't get that, basically watch the entire video because there's a message in the end. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Peace out. Hey guys, and once again, thank you for watching the first episode of the Unfold series. By pressing on the screen right now, you can get back to the main menu where you guys can select other videos and tutorials. Hey guys, and once again, thank you for watching the first episode of the Unfold series. By pressing on the screen right now, you can get back to the main menu where you guys can select other videos and tutorials.